I decided to go all in on Bitcoin. We had a bunch of idiots who like, oh, kitties on Ethereum? Yes, that's the shit. So they started buying it. The guy who created it profited.
What do you think about building on Bitcoin?
The next bull run will be driven by new use cases for Bitcoin, which is done via side chains that add programmability to Bitcoin.
Some people are talking that maybe the amount of Bitcoins will be increased.
The Bitcoin is doomed.
Hi everyone and welcome to HodlFM podcast. I'm Tanya, your host, and today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, which is smashing one all-time high after another, and we're going to discuss it with our guest, Igor Korsakov, who is the CTO at BlueWallet. Hi Igor, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell us please about yourself and about the BlueWallet?
So I started around 2014, some kind of Bitcoin development. I was integrating Bitcoin into payment systems of my clients that I had at the time. I was a freelance coder. So that was 2014. Around 2015, I realized completely that Bitcoin is the ultimate money, the hardest money there are, and the government money are no good. And I decided to go all in on Bitcoin. So around sometime later, around 2000, I think 17 or 18, I thought that there is no good iOS wallet that I enjoy using, and there's an opportunity for me to create a new wallet. So I started working on BlueWallet, and we've had, I think, around 200 open source contributors over the time. And we're still working on it. We still enjoy working on it. So yeah, here we are.
Great. And as far as I understand, BlueWallet is just a Bitcoin wallet, so you don't support any other chains, do you?
No, we don't.
Okay. And why do you believe so much in Bitcoin? Why is it better than any other crypto and any other fiat money?
Well, in a sense, Bitcoin was less technological achievement and less the invention and more the discovery. So it's not really possible to invent sound money again, because if you allow someone else to invent hard money again, there won't be stop to it. Every few years, I don't know, every few weeks, a new guy will come and will say like, "Hey guys, I created new money that is harder than the hand before, and everyone should migrate to this new money." And there won't be an end in sight for this. Like everyone will start creating their own better money, and the humanity will never settle on something on a good standard of money for humanity. So that's why Bitcoin is less the invention and more the discovery, and we have to stick to it.
Yeah, this is a very nice thing. I also believe a lot in Bitcoin, and I do agree with you completely. And you just mentioned right now that you have a lot of contributors. You guys are, as far as I understand, you guys are open source, and you deal a lot with the Bitcoin community. If we go back to 2015, you probably remember the Bitcoin talk and all of these crypto Bitcoin geeks gathering together, thinking about some products, testing some stuff. Lots of enthusiasts were there. And if we compare it to what we have right now, could you tell me about how did the community change? Did it change at all? And what do you see in terms of you dealing with other people in the community, in the Bitcoin community, I mean?
Well, yeah, a lot of stuff changed. Like back in the day, 2014 or 15, I remember the agenda was everyone were trying to fork Bitcoin Core and change the hashing algo, changing the difficulty adjustment algo, and say like, oh, now we invented new hashing algo, new difficulty adjustment, and this is more fair. So if everyone just ditch Bitcoin and move to this new coin, you can mine it, and the distribution will be more fair. So that was a fallacy. So nothing actually happened. So that was an era of just Bitcoin Core forks. And then slowly we started having coins, altcoins that were branded like, this time, guys, we have a brand new source code. Nothing is based on Bitcoin. So everyone were like, yeah, finally, something new. So everyone started trying that. And again, nothing really worked out. I remember Next, NXT or something like that. It's all dead now. Like it's been dead for a decade. So then something interesting happened, which is programmable altcoins like Ethereum, but in essence, it's still flawed because in the end of the day, someone else created this out of thin air, and it's a replication of fiat system which we're trying to combat with Bitcoin. But at least the use case was interesting. Now you can have programmable money, which is kind of very separate from the hard money, which is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin makes sure that money is separate from the state and no one can print it. But everything else, like crypto, Ethereum, and whatever else you can program, it's created out of thin air and it can be created again and again and again. But this time you can program it. So this created new use cases such as DeFi, land and staking, NFTs. But actually, no, NFTs, we had NFTs in Bitcoin around 2013. It was called colored coins back in the day, but the concept didn't fly. And my theory is that because people were in this industry were way smarter back in the day, that's why it didn't fly. Then we had a bunch of idiots who like, oh, kitties on Ethereum, yes, that's the shit. So they started buying it, and NFTs suddenly became a thing till it crashed again. And now all these people are holding worthless bags of NFTs for kitties. I remember kitties. I had crypto kitties on Ethereum that launched in 2017 or 18. I still have a few of them. Luckily, I didn't pay for it. But I still have them. They're worthless now. So same things happening with modern NFT collections. It's someone else creates them out of thin air. Someone else buys them, and then a few years later, it's worthless. So the guy who created it profited. Someone who resold it probably with a profit. The guy who left holding the bag got nothing because it's all printed out of thin air. It's worthless. But at least it was kind of interesting, something new uh, that you could do with programmable money. The community slowly evolved to people who stick to the ideals, which are like anarchy, crypto anarchy, self-government, which is Bitcoin core. You could call them maximalists, but I like the term shitcoin minimalist because you're not you don't want to you're thinking maybe Bitcoin can succeed, like let's try work with that instead of like so like you're minimizing your shitcoin exposure as opposite like uh, I don't know, let's try everything and let's see what flies. That there won't be end in sight if you try this. So this hardcore maxis camp and everything else, which is like, let's try programmable money and see where it leads us. Unfortunately, it leads us to another fiat system where everything can be printed out of thin air, but this time with programmability. So at least something new, but in the essence, the system is still flawed. So that's probably the main development in the community over the course of last 10 years.
Yeah, I remember these NFT times when people were buying rocks like crazy for millions and punks for millions of dollars, which are right now not as expensive as they used to be. But this happened probably in not just in crypto, in many other industries. And what I wanted to ask you is another thing: is you are a Bitcoin enthusiast, you're more on the Bitcoin side of things. However, if we're talking about different chains, Ethereum is considered more like an ecosystem where you can, program some stuff or build some apps, whereas Bitcoin is more like a store of value. And sometimes people try to build some stuff on Bitcoin, and there are also NFTs on Bitcoin, like Bitcoin ordinals and stuff. What do you think about building on Bitcoin? Why isn't it as popular as building on Ethereum? And is it going to become easier at some point of time to do some apps or something else on Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what I've noticed over the last year or two, and other people I spoke to notice as well, and VCs notice that as well, is that a lot of use cases being ported back to Bitcoin, mostly programmability. And with programmability, you can do tokens, NFTs, and DEXs and DeFi. So a lot of people realize that, yeah, the mother coin is still there and it still holds the most value. It's still most sound, most secure. So let's port the use cases that we think are worth porting back to Bitcoin. Let's do this. Let's port them back to Bitcoin and see what happens. So the thesis currently is that the driver for the next bull run, like we're gonna have a bear market, I think maybe in 6 months, and then the next bull run will be driven by new use cases for Bitcoin, which is done via side chains that add programmability to Bitcoin. So you can watch what's going on in Botonics, in Strata, in Citria, in Rootstock, in Liquid, in Arc, in Spark. This is all layer twos for Bitcoin that bring something fresh to Bitcoin, and they root their security in Bitcoin. And they don't create money out of thin air because they are rooted to Bitcoin completely. So you're working with Bitcoin on a different layer with a little bit different security trade-offs. But in return, you can get faster time to finality. You can get programmability.
Okay, I see. This is very nice. And what about the Lightning technology? There was a lot of talks about Lightning in I think during the ICO times. Actually, it was a big thing, and people were trying to build a lot of stuff to enable people use Lightning. But right now, I don't know. Is it still alive? Actually, do people actually use
Yeah,
Lightning?
actually, the reason why I admitted Lightning is because Lightning actually went mainstream. So it's so mainstream right now that it's boring to talk about. But let's talk about Lightning. Major companies said using Lightning. And as a layer two, Lightning has probably the best security trade-offs there are. So you have like one of the metric I like to ask myself about layer twos, like how many people do I have to ask permission to get my money back to peg out of layer two to get my Bitcoin back to layer one? And Lightning has the best in class security trade-off here. There are zero people you have to ask permission to get your money back from Lightning to layer one. So this is a big plus. So Lightning slowly evolved, becoming the payment rails of the Bitcoin ecosystem or the crypto ecosystem, or whatever you want to call it. Because now, if you have different companies, uh, if they work with Lightning, you can just pay them through Lightning, and they will receive Bitcoin. Coinbase added Lightning, Kraken added Lightning. So if you want 0-second clearance between exchanges for to move liquidity from one place to another because you're doing arbitrage, you can do it right now between Kraken and Coinbase. And I think a bunch of Chinese exchanges, but I don't watch them closely. I think Chinese exchanges add in Lightning as well. You can use Lightning from fiat on ramps. Some of them support it, so you can buy Bitcoin with your fiat money and receive them on Lightning and instantly deposit them to Kraken or to Coinbase. So it became boring. But it doesn't mean there's nothing happening in Lightning. People still develop on it. More wallets integrate Lightning. There are interesting ways to use Lightning. For example, you can now use Lightning without channels at all. So if you're familiar with Lightning technology, there are channels underneath Lightning. There are technologies that allow you to use Lightning using other layer twos because you're essentially doing a submarine swaps through other layer two, and you execute Lightning payment receives and sends, but your funds land on layer two, and there's no channel involved because your funds actually rooted in layer two that's tied to Bitcoin. So that makes Lightning even less frictionless. So if you're interested in that, you can look into Breeze Nodeless SDK, or Spark does something very similar, or Arc by Arc Labs. You can look into how they're gonna approach Lightning. They're still work in progress, but it's gonna be interesting as well. And my thesis is that um, pretty soon we might see altcoin wallets integrate Lightning because it's just like imagine opening Trust Wallet that has a bunch of crap, and boom, you have Lightning there because it's just so convenient to send funds to Binance, to Kraken, to Coinbase, or receive funds, or to other users.
So basically, users are actually using Lightning right now, but they're not always aware of it, right?
Like a lot of companies use Lightning as clearance between them. So Lightning became a business layer between companies, kind of like Swift or something, but with the option that ordinary users can use this as well. Also, it's because it's very private. It's not possible to estimate the amount of transactions or volume of transaction that's going on in Lightning. There's no dashboard that you can open and see, oh, we did like X millions this day, X millions yesterday. That's interesting because Lightning is so private that it's not visible.
Good. Interesting to know. I actually thought it was almost that, to be honest. And if we're talking about Bitcoin as proof of work, but right now I heard a lot of stuff about Bitcoin staking. Some people try to introduce Bitcoin staking. Is there a chance that we will be able to stake our Bitcoins at some point of time?
All the staking is done on layer twos currently. I think a few layer twos try to do that. One of them is Stacks. The other one, if I'm not mistaken, is Merlin, something like that. But like we're not gonna see staking on a base layer, that's for sure, because Bitcoin is deeply rooted in a proof of work, which is in certain scenarios is way more superior than proof of stake. So all the staking, if it's gonna be done, it's gonna be done on layer twos, and we'll see how it works out.
Okay, I see. What about mining? Right now, it costs about 35,000, something like this, to mine one Bitcoin, as far as I know. But there's a limited amount of Bitcoins. And right now, you can hear that some people are talking that maybe the amount of Bitcoins will be increased because the transactions are right now very cheap. And if we imagine the situation where when all the Bitcoins are mined and miners just rely on the transaction fees, what do you think is likely to happen? Are there some changes likely to happen for the total amount of Bitcoins or for the fees? What do you think about this?
I think it's another panic talk. Like I remember people were panicking. Oh, we're paying 100 satoshis per byte. Like that's too expensive. The Bitcoin is doomed. Now people saying like, oh, we're not paying enough. Bitcoin is doomed. So, and I've seen this over this last 10 years, occasionally here and there. The truth is that Bitcoin mining is very flexible, and Satoshi actually one of the I think the only thing that he actually invented Satoshi because he didn't invent Bitcoin. Like he took building blocks for all from all attempts to create cryptocurrency. He took all the good ideas and put them together. And the only thing he actually created from scratch that wasn't there before is the difficulty adjustment because proof of work was invented by Adam Beck, who later founded Blockstream. But he did invent the difficulty adjustment, which means if miners join, the difficulty readjusts and becomes harder to mine bitcoins. If miners leave, difficulty will go down, so it's not a big problem. Plus, we have another 100 years for all the supply of mined bitcoins to run dry. We don't necessarily have to do anything. Not today, not tomorrow, not this year, not maybe in the next 5 or 10 years. We have 100 years to see what's going on. And my hunch is that the system is so flexible that if at some point miners won't be happy, they will start leaving. Miners who actually have the profit margin, who are efficient, terahash, they will stay. The inefficient will leave. The difficulty will readjust to lower, and again, the system will work perfectly fine. And we have 100 years to onboard the whole humanity to Bitcoin, to start using Bitcoin every day, and pay those fees to miners. So we have time.
But right now, Bitcoin is also becoming much more mainstream than it used to be because right now you see a lot of institutions are getting more and more crypto friendly. We have Bitcoin ETFs approved for more than 1 year now. What do you think about institutions joining the Bitcoin movement and joining the crypto and becoming more friendly to crypto in general? And how is it going to impact the price and generally the industry?
Sometimes people say Bitcoin got captured by the state. And I, as a joke, reply, no, it's the state that's got captured by Bitcoin. So that's why we're winning. Yeah, so that's all fun and games. But what's really important is that we have crypto friendly administration in the US right now. But everything can change in the next 4 years. We don't know who's going to be elected after 4 years. So right now we have the window of opportunity to bring laws that are actually good for our industry and that will prevent further administrations to reverse everything that good has been done and start, I don't know, jailing developers, like forbidding Bitcoin and crypto. So they have this window of opportunity, and people in the US they actually doing the good work to lobby their senators, their officials to make good laws. We can make sure that crypto is here to stay, and no one's gonna punish us in the next administration. So we have to work hard to not allow this. At least our brothers and sisters in the US, for all the
Yeah,
people in the US.
general is very crypto friendly state, and even I think Yeah, during the last election, it was stated that almost every third American owns some crypto. So it's a very, very good level of adoption, I think, because if you compare it to European Union, you have a totally different situation. Lots of people are not even aware of crypto and still that think that this is some kind of scam. But if we're talking about the Bitcoin price and all of these governmental interests and movement, what is your take about on the Bitcoin price in 6 months or something like this, and in, let's say, 5 years? What's the maximum, the peak of this cycle? What are we gonna see?
Well, in my experience, we still have cycles. Like every 4 years, we have Bitcoin top, then we have Bitcoin bottom. That's usually called crypto winter and crypto summer. So like bull run and then bear market. So some people say this cycle was the last, and we're gonna go only up from now. But I'm not so sure. Like I would still be very cautious because we can still reach the top, which might be around 150K per coin, and then have 4 years of depression when we'll lose 80% of value. So I think cycles are still alive and well. And Bitcoin just has this ability, to melt faces. Like every time you think Bitcoin gonna go one way, it can go out the other way and completely destroy you, demolish you, demoralize you because you're not happy with it. But my hunch is that we're gonna have another bear market. This bull market will end. We'll have another bear market. I don't know how low we're gonna go. Maybe minus 80%. That happened in the past. This might happen again. Uh, but in the end of the day, on 10 years horizon, everything is alive and well.
Will Bitcoin reach 1 million?
Yeah, absolutely. One way or another. Like it's either Bitcoin will be so valuable that it's reached 1 million, or the government money will be so worthless that 1 million is basically peanuts, and you still get Bitcoin for 1 million, more than 1 million. So one way or another, Bitcoin will be 1 million.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so too, and I hope that we will hodl till it reaches 1 million and not panic. Okay, thanks a lot, Igor. And I think it's great time to wrap up. Thank you for joining us for this session. It was really nice to talk to you. Maybe you have anything else to say as a final note on your side to our listeners?
Well, I don't know. Be well.
Okay, thanks a lot. It was HodlFM. Don't forget to like us and subscribe and share this video with your friend. See you soon. Bye bye.
Cool. Bye bye.